one sheet with the little arrows and the person's hand, it goes through this. So the most important thing in doing soil texture is you want to have the right soil moisture content, because if you read through that thing, the first step is you make a ball, and if it holds in a ball something, it's not sand. But if you think of, you go to the beach, if you get that sand wet enough, you can hold it together in a sandcastle. So you need to have it the right soil moisture. Usually it just takes a little practice in figuring out what that is. It's not sopping wet, so if you squeeze it, water shouldn't be coming out. It shouldn't feel dry. It should just feel like this one, and when you get up here you can feel it. So the first thing you want to do is sort of squeeze it in a ball. You have about this much, a handful of soil. If you have too little, it's going to be too hard to do. So squeeze it, see if it holds together. If you can sort of toss it a little bit and it holds together, then you're going past, I'm just going to look over your shoulder. If it didn't hold together, then I'd probably have a sand. If it does hold together, then I go down to the next step. And it says, does your soil form a ribbon? And this is where it takes a lot of practice and skill to form a ribbon. So basically what that means is you squeeze that soil between your fingers like this and try and squeeze it out into, so it kind of goes beyond your finger. So it's kind of forming a ribbon. Because our soils in this area don't have a lot of clay, if you think of working with clay, you could do that really easily and it would make this really long ribbon before it broke. It's hard to do it here, but see, I can make it go out a little bit. And so if it does form a ribbon, then you go down and you have all these choices down here. I'll give you a hint now, if you're feeling soils in Rhode Island, it's never going to say clay in your soil texture. If you look at anything in the circles here, those are the textures. So you have sandy clay loam, silty clay loam, all those things. Don't worry about them if you're in Rhode Island. They're not going to say clay in it. So the things that you need to worry about are sandy loam, silt loam, sand, and loamy sand. So I'll let you practice and feel these. So that one can make a ribbon. I do have one that has more clay in it, and you can really feel a difference. When you try and push it around, it's hard to sort of squeeze. It doesn't fall apart, and it keeps together in those little granular pieces. And then if you work it around enough, it can be sort of shiny if you put your finger across it on the surface. And if you work it enough, you can do that ribbon. I'm not going to do that right now. And then, so I'll tell you what these textures are. This one is a silt loam for when you get up here and feel it. This one is the clay, silty clay loam. And then this one's really wet, but it's a sand. If you're quiet, can you hear that? If there's anything with sand in it, you can really hear it when you rub it between your fingers. You can hear those little sand grains in there. And you can feel it. It's really gritty. Because this one is wet, it'll hold together in that ball, but it's just a finer sand. And then this one has, I'll do it through this. This is a sieve that's about 2 millimeters. So anything smaller than that is your soil. Anything bigger than that is a gravel or a rock or a boulder. So if you want, you could make one of these. It's just a little mesh. So we made this one. So for the sandy one, you can sieve it out, and there's your gravels. When you're doing a texture, you don't really want to have those in there. So it's good to either have a sieve or just pick them out. Like if you have a handful, just take out those little gravels so that it's not making it not hold together for you. And so this one just is sort of a coarser sand. If I squeeze it, it's not holding together at all. So that's got a little bit coarser sand. One more thing, people get confused between loamy sand and sandy loam. And if you think about it, there's sand, which is just the coarsest one. Loamy sand is the next one because it's sand, but it's a little bit loamy. Loamy means it has finer material in it. And then there's sandy loam, which is even finer because it's loam, but it's a little bit sandy. So sort of think about how the words are organized, and it can help you keep those straight. So come up here and have a feel at these textures, if you can keep it sort of over the bucket or over the table so that it doesn't make a huge mess. And then I will split you up into 3 groups and we'll do a quick little description of these soils. So people can just come through, and if you want to get dirty, feel these soils and I'll answer your questions.